I think this is sort of like a free verse poem play, and in that sense, it reminds me. In a certain way, it's sort of a longer version of Eyes Closed Misunderstanding. Um, we do get, and that's another play that deals with unexpected death. Uh, um, but this one, I initially had the thought, like I mentioned how Landon came about. With this one, I looked up the name of my old psychologist, and I saw a few women with that name. One that probably is her, and I found, I think, her Facebook page, but she's too far in the background that I could tell if it was her reasonably or not. And then in another thing, when I Googled her name, I saw that she made, it said, has a child 8 years old, but this was probably from 25, 30 years ago or something. And so I thought, well, that's interesting, but let's see if the child is dead, because that then gives the psychologist something to hide. Now, in a traditional play, the revelation that a psychologist is uncomfortable with the death, the murder of her own daughter, would be the center. If you had Tennessee Williams write about this character, that would have been the focus of the Tennessee Williams play. The fact that a psychologist couldn't come to grips with the death or the murder of her daughter. O'Neill would have had that. And this is what I said before about as big an improvement as the great modernist playwrights were over Shakespeare and his ilk in 300-400 years ago. They still relied so heavily on melodrama. And so I mentioned I'm thinking of doing a play with a Greek chorus, but I'm not going to go back to what the Greeks did. I'm going to bring the Greek chorus up to the front, just like I talked about modernizing soliloquies. I have to find a way to modernize the Greek chorus, and it'll come to me eventually. It's not one of those things I'm going to force. Just like you have to learn to be patient in art. I told you how I've had the idea for doing 3 either novels or plays on Genghis Khan, Ogadai Khan, and Kublai Khan. It took me 20 years to find the right vehicle to write about the 3 Vincetti brothers, the real life versions that I grew up with. It took me a long time with The Scorpion Swam to finally get Michael Faraday into a book. Originally, I was going to write a Michael Faraday novel, but I found his life too fucking boring, and I didn't want to dehistoricize him too much. So that's why I just had him sort of as a Jiminy Cricket to the Henry Matsumi character there. But having the dead daughter, having the revelation, I'm trying to even remember now, how the hell does this play end?